All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we are going to talk about Gervonta Davis and the upcoming fight with Lamont Roach and how it looks like it is going to be a tremendous success for the sport of boxing. As some numbers have come out for the fight with David Benavidez and David Morrell on Amazon Prime, and I'm telling you, the numbers are shockingly high, and that bodes very well for the business of boxing, or for boxing. And in boxing, you have two different models of boxing going on. One is where you're losing a bunch of money, and people can be like, yeah, we're growing the sport by losing money. And the other one is where people are actually putting on a fight that are making money on a fight-by-fight basis. The old school business person in me keeps I can't get past the fact that the first one sounds very stable and the other one doesn't. But if you take what happened with David Benavidez and you apply that to Gervonta Davis, you see what I'm going to describe to you is the potential Amazon effect on these ratings. You'll see that it is a very, very good thing for boxing. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, let's get it right into it because this is going to involve some numbers. There's a lot of people that like talking about business and boxing, so that is what this one is going to be. Before I get into it, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. Hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed. And to everybody that has been and watches the videos, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Y'all are what's up. So let's get into this. There's been a report about the pay-per-views for David Benavidez versus David Morrell, which was a pay-per-view event that took place not this week, a week ago yesterday. And it was a very good card. It had Steve Fulton Jr. fought Brandon Figueroa. Isaac Cruz fought a guy named Fierro. You had, and then of course in the main event you had David Benavidez fighting David Morrell. David Morrell is a fairly unknown fighter in the general boxing world. So you're really looking at the star power of David Benavidez to really kind of carry that. Well, David Benavidez did 200,000 pay-per-views on Amazon Prime. That is very, very good for David Benavidez in his first solo pay-per-view venture. And it bodes well for the business of business that PBC does with Amazon, because you can clearly see that the numbers on Amazon are bigger than the numbers were over on Showtime for the PBC. And I think that it is just as nothing other than the fact that you just have a lot bigger pool of people to watch the fight. And these ballpark numbers, I believe that Amazon Prime is in something like 300 million homes, something like that, a lot. And you have Showtime, however, that may have been in 30 million homes. So you clearly have Amazon Prime being at least 10 times bigger than Showtime. And then the promotion that they put on Amazon Prime is just so much, it's ubiquitous, it was consistent. And it's consistent in that they have specific boxing channels on Amazon Prime. It's just a really, really good place and central place to watch boxing, and it's very easy to buy the fight. And of course, again, there's so many more people. So I think the first evidence of this increase in numbers, I think, came from the Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin fight, because that fight did 400,000 pay-per-views. Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. Now, this is Gervonta Davis, who before the Ryan Garcia fight on Showtime was doing numbers like 250, 300,000 pay-per-views. You know, if you don't listen to the Rick Glazier and these people that say he was doing 50,000 pay-per-views, like just that nonsense. At least now we know they don't have access to Amazon Prime's numbers. But, you know, don't worry, the lies will come. Anyway, if you look and you say, okay, what a big jump to 400,000 pay-per-views for Gervonta Davis when you go to Amazon. Now, some of that may have been because of the really big fight, the 1.2 million pay-per-view that he did on his last fight on Showtime. So, you know, with Ryan Garcia, that may have something, you know, to do with the bump as well. But usually when you're able to offer a product to a larger group of people, you get more sales. Now, sometimes like with, you know, Walmart and doing stuff like that, it can cut down your margins, but it doesn't seem like that's the case with the PBC. Other than I do think the PBC does have to absorb some of its, or is responsible for some of its production costs. But at the end of the day, those numbers look for Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. I think that you're going to see a big jump. I think you may be able to see 500,000 pay-per-views come from Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. And the reason why I think that the Lamont Roach fight is bigger than the fight with Frank Martin is because where Lamont Roach is from and where Gervonta Davis is and where the fight is being held. That little portion where you have Baltimore, you have DC, and then you have New York. The gate is already supposed to be doing something around a $14 million gate. So that's already looking like it's in a great position because people are going there. But also I think you can see it in the pay-per-view events as well, because you're going to have a lot of fight fans specifically in DC that are going to be amped up for that fight between those two people, and obviously Baltimore and that kind of rivalry they have. But at the end of the day, we'll see. But those are really good numbers for David Benavidez. And at the very least, man, it means we're going to be able to hopefully get more good fights out of David Benavidez. Because when you do what is that, about $18 million plus an $8 million, it's like a $24 million fight for David Benavidez. He's a legitimate draw in the sport of boxing now. So that is a very good deal, man. And maybe it's enough to try to bait Canelo Alvarez into doing a fight with him, because, you know, there's been some fights I've seen Canelo Alvarez has done 300,000 pay-per-views against lesser known guys. Well, and that was on DAZN though. You bring them to Amazon Prime, the numbers are going to be much bigger for Canelo. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. I know that this was a conversation about the business of boxing, or the business, and not necessarily about who's going to win in the ring, but I think it's an important thing because I want to see boxing obviously flourish, because if boxing flourishes, then there's more kids that are going to get into the sport of boxing. The more kids get into the sport of boxing, the better fights that there are. And for there to be somewhere in boxing where there's a model of boxing that at least you can have some confidence in, because as long as somebody's putting on fights and they're making money, they're not going to go out of business. You can have people that are putting on these really big shows, but those really big shows are losing a bunch of money. That's not guaranteed to be around. You're literally just like hanging on the whim of one individual versus a system where you have, boxers where these guys have fans, they have venues and the fans and the venues and the pay-per-views and all that stuff. In the different streams that you can buy it online come together, and it makes a sport that is predictable, and where it makes the revenue predictable, makes it repeatable, and it makes it something that you can have a sport that's going to be around for a good amount of time. But anyway, boxing's been around with the troubles, and it'll continue to be around. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section, and with that, I'm out. Deuces.